Alright, hello. So we're going to be diagramming a section of code in pseudocode. So let's go ahead and I want to focus on lines 2, 3, and that'll be it for now. So let's start off with this one. If a is greater than 5. So there are actually two parts to this. One is noticing that both this whole if-else structure is what we would call a selection structure. This is in week 2 notes, just to make sure you know about that. This is what we call the selection structure. And we call it the selection structure because it is selecting which segment of code to run. It determines it based on this thing right here, which I'm going to do in red. This part right here in red determines what it does. This is called a Boolean expression. Boolean, or Boolean, means something that evaluates to true or false. Now, maybe that might be a little tough to understand at first, but here, let's take it like this, just in plain English. A is greater than 5. Well, we know from this line up here, A is some variable that equals a random number between 1 and 10. So when we're asked if A is greater than 5, it is a direct question. Is A greater than 5 true or false? Well, that means if A is 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10, it would be true. A is greater than 5. Any other value, however, that's lower, is going to be false, because then in that case, A is not greater than 5. These things are always going to be true or false. And it's just any Boolean expression is any expression that could be said as being true or being false. They're usually used inside the selection structure, inside the if, else, if, and else, or if we're talking about Python, if, and else. And they're kind of like one of the center units of it. You might be asked about, Boolean expressions and how they evaluate to either true or false. So in the next line, we have this repeat. Repeat A times. So remember, A is that variable up there that's a random number between 1 and 10. And apparently in this case, it's going to see if A is greater than 5, it's going to repeat the words "you win" over and over again based on whatever A is. So if A was 7, in that case it's going to say "you win 7 times." If A was 4, on the other hand, it would just say "you lose." Now this blue thing I've squared off in blue, this is what's called an iteration structure. Iteration. An iteration structure. That means anything that repeats. From Python, this would be like our for or our while. So for and while would be our iteration structures. In this case, it would be repeat for our pseudocode. So that's really the most that we want to look at. I really want to look at right here. The selection, the iteration, and the Boolean expression that's inside the selection structure. And I guess just one other thing I might want to mention is the sequence here. Just simply the fact that we would go from one line to another. That's called our sequence. So when you're asked about that, keep that in mind. That's about it.